Hey, we're going to talk about AI visibility for realtors in 2026. I am Robert Newman, the longtime founder of a search visibility company that focuses on inbound marketing called Inbound Real Estate Marketing. If you don't know me, go ahead and do inboundrem.com and you'll learn tons about me and the company that I have founded that has been around for a long time now. All right, so what we're going to talk about, as I've already said, is how are people using AI to find real estates, realtors, so on and so forth. And what are the numbers specifically? This is going to be a yearly video that we do, and this one is for 2026. So without any further ado, let's get into it. All right, in 2025, we're doing a recap, by the way. 67% of consumers use ChatGPT for real estate related searches. 54% used Gemini. Now, this is the first time probably since the company was established, like within 6 months of Google being launched, it was becoming the dominant search engine. At the time, people were using AOL and other tools to do search. So for the last 10, 20 years now, Google, which is Gemini, has been dominant in search. No more. Right now, more people are using ChatGPT, which I didn't know until I did the research for this video. So I was pretty surprised to discover. I don't think this number is going to stay the same, but it's certainly how it's working right now. 50% of real estate related keywords currently trigger an AI overview. For those of you who are unfamiliar with what that might be, if we go into a traditional search bar like this, I'm already in AI mode, but let's just say we go to a Google screen like this one. You see where it says AI mode here. So let's just pretend that I'm searching for a home in my own area. Sherman Oaks is a neighboring city. So let's just do Sherman Oaks homes currently listed. All right, whatever. All right, so we get this. And that right there is what they're referring to as an AI overview. So this is triggered when people are using that traditional search bar 50% of the time now for all real estate related keywords, not just what I put, all everywhere. In 2026, ranking in AI search, often referred to as Generative Engine Optimization or GEO, has become a competitive necessity for realtors. Now, whether or not all of you realize that, that's another subject, but I happen to agree. I agree so much that over 2025, my company had to restructure itself. We've always been an SEO company. We're arguably the leader in SEO in the US, not by client count necessarily, but certainly by results and by focus. Because we were an SEO-first company and we were the only one in the real estate space, but no more. We're now an AI, GEO, AIO, AEO first company. Why? Because this is where all of search is going. It's already there. It's not like it's the future. It's here. It's right now. So you need to be ranking. We have ranking services for AEO or AIO. If you want to find out how you can dominate an AI search, that is a conversation you can have by clicking the link that'll be in the description of this video. Elite ranking, only about 0.5% of licensed agents. Now, this information was pulled for me from the AI search engine or AI tools like Gemini, like ChatGPT, and only about 0.05% of licensed agents, roughly 890 out of 220,000 in early 2026 case studies are currently validated and selected for inclusion in a high authority AI top 10 lists. This is one way to do it. My estimation is even more dramatic. Talking to realtors, when I ask realtors who's doing anything at all to rank in AI, out of a couple hundred times that I've asked that question, I've only had one realtor have even a vague answer. Some realtors know that there are crossover ranking elements between like hyperlocal SEO, like reviews and things like that, and AI. Very, very, very few know anything behind. What am I saying? Very few. I've only met one that knows anything beyond what might be necessary beyond what I just mentioned to you. So I would put the number at 0.001, not 0.005. Okay, it's less than 1%. It's a tenth of 1%, in my opinion. Search intent split. AI overviews appear in approximately 63% of real estate searches. So this is anything related that is specifically related to our industry segment. The actual number is 63%, not the generalized real estate related keywords. Okay, they're just saying broadly, and when you start to focus down, say homes for sale, blah, 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 63% of the time you are going to see an AI overview. Informational searches. So when somebody is searching for information like on how much is my home worth, or what are the values of my neighbor's homes, or what can I do to improve the value of my home, these are informational searches. I'm looking for a tip or trick to sell my home, make it more valuable, make the curb appeal, pop, whatever, right? 78% and trigger AI results. Commercial searches, that really hyper specific searches, best realtor to sell a historic home, trigger AI results only about 4% of the time. So let's see what we get when we do it from doing that search from California. So I'm going to delete this. It's a normal Google search bar. We get some sponsor results, and we do get an AI. That is because in LA, we have historic home specific agents. What this is really saying, because AI generative search is all based on where you can find user intent related content directly related to that realtor. So if you don't have content on the web, if you don't have a social media channel, if you don't have a position on Yelp, a position on TripAdvisor, a position on Medium, a position on various Web 2.0 places, like an actual presence, you're not going to be found. There is no way to reference that you are a person that's ever sold a historic home ever in your life, and you're never going to come up for AI. But in places like LA, where the market is very fractured, divided, and specialists really abound, you are going to have these results. And what's more, deep results. Why? Because historic home salespeople here are going to publish a lot of content, because historic homes in LA, as you can all well imagine, the price point, the inventory price point, is because these homes are going to be in older parts of the city, which means they're going to have very desirable locations. So they're going to go for millions and millions of dollars. And the expectation of the people who are willing to buy these old fixer-upper homes for millions and millions of dollars is that you better be an expert. You must know how to renovate them. You must know how to talk to the city. You must do all these things. So how does that impact you people that might be watching this video from all over the country? Well, the note here is that there was already a large period where there was a gap that was dividing between digitally proactive like realtors and non-digitally proactive realtors. That gap is really increasing dramatically. While you don't necessarily need to be a blogger to do because SEO is not delivering the searches right now. But if you were a blogger and you were focused on SEO for years and years, you're going to get some of this ranking because you've got so much information out there published in some blogs that have a lot of comments on them. And that's what these AI visibility searches are looking for. They're looking for relevance based on user input. Now, reviews is one way to do it, but there's plenty of other ways to do it. Yelp is another place, which is still reviews, but there's when you start talking about for the research for this article, one of the things that was mentioned was TripAdvisor, because TripAdvisor is such a great place for people to talk about lifestyle and area and just local everything. And that, is it the most directly related to real estate? No, but it is probably the best that ChatGPT has access to. All right, there's other places, Medium and Reddit, that also have really great threads, Quora as well. These are all places where if you had some kind of visibility, a thread that was talking about how amazing the beach was in your local area. All of a sudden, if somebody said beachfront home and you happen to have had the foresight to publish the fact that you were a realtor, even if you didn't have that foresight, you connect it to your name and you still might actually come up as the number one person to talk about beachfront homes with. Even though your thread was really just talking about beaches in general, or how much you love the beach, or the beaches that you like the best in your area. AI is changing what we focus on online, which is why we had to craft a whole new service and get out in front of a completely different way of people using for search, because it's all about intent now. What are you trying to get to? So if you have a realtor who's a surfer and an expert in beaches, and you happen to be searching for a beachfront home, it's a natural leap to say that that realtor might be a good person to talk about a beachfront home if you cared about the beach itself, if they're using the beaches, going to the beaches, and you can prove it. You have user-based authority, people talking to you about your thread, or God, that's great, or you're so right, that water was super cold in December when I went in. This is what semantic language recognition is doing. They can take pieces of what other people have said, attach meaning to it, which is why user intent is becoming the number one signal, in getting found across the web. And it's even starting to drip out into traditional SEO. So if you're wondering what the difference is, it's really user intent. We're not really focused on keywords anymore. We haven't been in a while. We've been drifting away for a bit, but now it's just basically a thing of the past. Broker dominance. Smaller tech-forward brokerages are increasingly outranking national giants. Boy, oh boy, guys. AI visibility, here's my summary. I know you guys are tired of hearing this. It's just true, though. It's hard for us not to say something like this. Never, since I was first doing this in 2008, there was a huge transition between brokers and agents who were doing advertising in newspapers and the yellow pages. That was where people were getting found, especially newspapers. And when Google came along, there was a transference of people willing to do advertising on Google, and then a few years later, Facebook. And all that advertising, for those of you who've been doing this for a while, you remember when Facebook ads were like the thing for realtors, right? There was all sorts of agents, people creating leads for themselves across like Facebook. And you can still use it to do that, though these days I think it's more of like a remarketing, retargeting opportunity. So people already know you, your list, your email list, an ad follows them around. So you always have visibility online, which is what I would want as a realtor. It's like putting a billboard up on all the signposts for their human beings' digital stops. But this is different. We're watching tech forward, smaller players who always had to work harder to gain prominence online. For a long, long time, these big brand names, because they have highly authoritative domain names like Coldwell Banker and Douglas Elliman. And you couldn't really compete on the website level. You really couldn't. But what happened was smaller local brokerages certainly felt they compete like in reviews and things like that, because the weakness that national brokers have and have had for a long time is there's not as good of a personal connection. So Douglas Elliman is not going to have as many good reviews even at an office level. Why? Because it's hard to get these agents who work for these big brands to care enough to go online and deliver reviews that ultimately say Douglas Elliman is fantastic. You want people to say Lucy Liu is fantastic, not Douglas Elliman. And that's generally what happens. The only exception to that, of course, is these small locally branded brokers who really, it's like a family. Those teams still exist. They've been working together for years. The broker cares about them. They care about them. And they're all operating under their own brand name. They're not operating under somebody else's national brokerage. And why is that important? Because now, all of a sudden, we've seen with this shift, user intent shift. So guess who people talk about in terms of you go out, you do business with a real estate agent. Do they really talk about their agency RE agent? Not generally. No, actually they don't. What they do is they talk about that small local team that just gave them this white glove treatment that they just blew their minds. And they leave reviews that say the same. So all of a sudden, with user intent being the number one driver, big, huge brands like Compass and Redfin and all the big Coldwell bankers, Sotheby's, they are all getting the doors blown off them in terms of visibility because with smaller local brands, they're overtaking them. And this should, if you have a brand you're affiliated with, if you own one of these brands, my God, you should be excited. This is your time. Get out in front of it. If not with us, research it yourself, find out how AI is working, and start to really leverage up. And how is AI working? Get on Reddit, get on Medium, do digital press releases, get out there and hammer home your messaging on social media, because Facebook and Instagram are becoming more relevant for search in a broad way. Not, they only allowed those websites to be crawled in the last couple of years. Zuckerberg was so late to the game. It's really one of the many major fumbles he's made, but this one was bigger than most. That's why he's spending billions to catch up in the AI game. He is only late, come to the realization too late that his focus should not have been on VR, should always have been on AI, but he is trying to catch up in a very fast way now. All right. My personal research estimates that the 1.59 million realtors licensed at the beginning of 2026, fewer than 1,000 have taken specific steps to target AI search. There is some overlap in ranking signals between hyperlocal and AI, and that is where many realtors are already seeing high conversion calls from. So if you're a realtor right now and you're watching this video and you know you've gotten some calls from AI, let me tell you something, brother or sister. Boy, oh boy, you're already being recognized in the AI search engines. That's the point where you take a little bit of your capital, you call us, or you do the research yourself, and you figure out ways to rank. Because let me tell you, everybody, less than, the number is something like, seriously, it's like this. It's like 0.0001 is what is being tapped, and it, like, by people actually targeting it. There's no competition. This is as good of an opportunity as any of you will ever find. So do not ignore it. AI visibility, these numbers are only, this is the tip of the iceberg. This is 2 years in, 3 years in, technically. But this is, it's only going to get more and more and more until pretty much all searches are being done using AI tools. And the only search visibility efforts that we talk about are AI based. All right, that's it. I've been Robert Newman. I hope you appreciated your AI visibility for realtors in 2026 overview. I hope that I helped you understand that what the numbers are. My estimation is that it's going to grow by 10 to 20%. So like by 87%. Not really. I think the numbers are going to switch to Gemini, is my honest opinion. I don't see Google losing the search game to ChatGPT. I really don't. I just think that the lead, that I think it's going to be a 50-50 split. So you are going to see a difference as time goes on, if they don't get trounced, if it doesn't go back to 70-30. But right now, I can't argue with the numbers. ChatGPT is a major player, and they're changing everything overnight because they don't use the same signals that Google does. Anyway, I hope this has been helpful. If it has, please give me a comment, give me a like. If for some reason you wanted to talk more about AI or AI services or AI visibility, feel free to go ahead and schedule a call below. I will reveal our brand new AI or AEO service line to the first people that get into my calendar. It is not published yet, but it is created and has been beta tested for the last 2 years. That's it. I've been Robert Newman. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day and out.